Hello, 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 and welcome back to my channel. Or if it's your first time here, welcome. Today, I want to talk about catfish. Not the kind of catfish that you season up all good and put in some cornmeal batter and throw it in a pan of hot grease, fry it up, put some hot sauce on it. Not that kind of catfish. That's, most of us like that kind of catfish. I'm talking about the kind of catfish that show up in your inbox. There's different kinds of catfish that'll hop into your inbox. Now we're talking about, more the innocent type, which really isn't even innocent. They can still do a lot of damage. That would be the kind that will steal someone's identity, steal some photos off Instagram or whatever, and hijack someone's identity. And pretend to be them, make you fall in love with them just because they're insecure and they like you and they need to create a new persona to make you like them. Or they want to maybe Photoshop pictures of themselves to turn themselves into another person and, make you fall in love with that person that doesn't even really exist. Or they'll maybe use pictures of them 15 years ago and they don't look like that anymore. That's very dishonest. That's still catfishing, right? Believe it or not, a lot of people don't even believe that that's catfishing, but it is. Use your current pictures, okay? Like if you're on a dating site or even on Facebook, Instagram, or what have you, and you're trying to get into romantic relationships, okay? Why am I talking about this on this channel? Well, because people can be very victimized by this, okay? Especially when we're talking about the kind of catfish I'm talking about today. This can be very financially damaging to a person. I am talking about romance scammers today. Why am I talking about that? Well, I'm a single woman. During coronavirus, a lot of people, don't judge it, but a lot of people are getting onto dating sites because what, are we going to do? Meet our mate in our living room when we're on lockdown? No. It's 2020. People are getting on dating sites and there's an uptick in that. I mean, it's just a fact of life, okay? So it's good to know, especially if you're new to the scene, which a lot of people are, because a lot of people are used to meeting people in person. But we don't have that option now, okay? We don't have that option. We're on lockdown. And even in areas where places are open, a lot of people don't feel safe going out in public. So they're at home. And if you are in the place in your life where you want to meet someone, how are you going to meet them? Dating sites are an option. Now, one thing about dating sites, of which I do need to warn people, is they are filled with narcissists. It's a narcissist playground, which is why I will probably talk more on the topic here on this channel in the future, because it is a breeding ground for narcissists. They love dating sites. They love social media, period. So you'll have to know how to navigate those waters really effectively. But of course, one thing too that you'll have to be very good at is identifying these catfish, right? Well, I had a classic one hop in my inbox the other day. Just the very classic catfish. I felt kind of almost tempted to engage and kind of scare him a bit, but I refrained. So I just thought I'd share with you guys what a catfish looks like and what he talks about. That'd be a good example to use. So this little catfish, okay, he's Middle Eastern. Now I'm not saying that catfish are Middle Eastern. Usually they'll use the fake pictures of somebody European. This guy's Middle Eastern on his profile. I don't know what he really is. I mean, I don't know where he is or anything like that. He claims to be in a city near me. His tagline says, "I'm an honest and caring man. I detest liars a lot." Oh, to you. That's great. I'm so glad you detest liars. He is, red flag number one, a medical surgeon. Also an endocrinologist. That's great. He's an endocrinologist. Red flag number one, not too many of those on the dating site. Not saying there won't ever be one, but highly doubtful. Master's degree. And of course, some of his pictures have him in his scrubs. And then he has some kind of cute little modeling looking pictures. I thought about posting his picture here, but this is a real guy. And I found him. So, the real guy. I don't want to put his picture on here. He's interested in soccer, basketball, and hiking. He's a Christian. That's very important to me, okay, because I'm a Christian, and I'm not just, trying to date anybody, but he's a Christian. So he's, going to reel in those Christians. Not me, though. I'm just saying. He's a Christian. That's what he says. Pretty sure he's not a Christian. He likes visiting the gym and eating seafood salad. And they're his favorite anyways. Doctors really talk like that. I hate liars and cheats. I love honesty a whole lot. Sounds like great doctor talk. I mean, great. He doesn't smoke. He drinks socially, doesn't do drugs. Okay. He's very ambitious. Has kids. And he's open, undecided, or open to having more kids. He has a car. He has a dog. Okay. He's athletic. He speaks English. He's the oldest of 2 kids. Blah, blah, blah. Conversation starters. Honesty is my best policy in life. He's really driving that honesty home, right? And how is the weather over there? Over there. Way on your side of the world, because I'm probably in Bangladesh somewhere. For real, for real. All right, so we go to the inbox. His first comment. This fool's supposed to be 30 minutes away from me. He says, hello. How is the weather over there? Over there? You're supposed to be down the street. Why do you think the weather's going to be any different over here? This is red flag number 1. Because you're not over here. But I digress. And I said, I knew this was a catfish right away because he had on Dr. Scrubs. He's an endocrinologist. I looked at his page and I'm like, yeah, this is catfish. But, I just want to kind of poke at him a little bit. I said, over here, I'm not that far from blah, 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 but it's nice. He says, LOL, what city are you? I told him my city. Didn't you read my profile? Well, I know it's hard for catfish to actually read profiles because they are texting hundreds of people at the same time. But he still could have gone back and looked at my profile and saw what city I am. So that kind of was a red flag because that would have took too much time for a catfish to do. Because they are literally texting hundreds of people, like, simultaneously. So then he starts sending paragraphs, and they were coming like that. So I know that these are all canned responses he probably has on a Word doc or something, and he just copies, paste, copies, paste. He says, oh, I live in Lincoln, Nebraska. I have a house there where my mom stays, but I'm currently in New Orleans. I work here as a medical surgeon at the University Medical Center in New Orleans. I'm an endocrinologist. I left Nebraska to work here 3 years ago, along with my 3-year-old son. I'll be back in Lincoln permanently soon in the next weeks to set up my own medical practice over there and settle down finally. I said, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm originally from Turkey, and my name is blah, blah, blah. I moved from Turkey to Lincoln, Nebraska 3 years ago after my late wife passed away through childbirth in Turkey. After her death, I moved to Nebraska and bought a house there together with my newly born son and my mom. My son is 3 years old. His name is William. He's my world. My mom is in Lincoln with my son right now. Then he sent me pictures of him and his mom and him and his son. And I was like, oh, cute. Sorry to hear about your wife. And then he asked me to, and these paragraphs were coming like boom, 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 boom. There's no way he typed them as fast as he was sending them. And he says, it's all right. Tell me about you. What do you do? Have you been married? Do you have kids? Did you read my profile? Because it tell you right on there. But, okay. So I will tell you the red flags. First of all, that the paragraphs were like coming out, like cranking out. The other red flag is, first of all, he moved from Turkey to Lincoln 3 years ago. And then he turned around and moved to New Orleans from Lincoln 3 years ago. He moved with his son to New Orleans 3 years ago, but his son's in Lincoln with his mom. He has so many different stories. Like, that's a lot. I'm just scratching my head like, that's a lot. That's really a lot, but okay. um, the other red flag is his son's mom died in childbirth. That's so typical for a catfish. Like, they had to have some kind of tragic thing happen to they always have a kid involved somehow. And they always end up being like a doctor or an oil driller, or they always like end up working with precious stones overseas, and they always end up having an intention of being here, or maybe having a house here, or maybe moving here in a few weeks, but they're not here yet. They're gonna be here. That's another red flag. He was all over the place. So, and then he wants to know about me personally, which he could have found that out, by looking at my profile. But instead, he wants me to tell him, oh, yeah, I've been married and I have blah, blah, blah. So he can start engaging me and starting to get me emotionally engaged in this conversation. And see how vulnerable I am. Which I'm not. Trust me, I'm not vulnerable. What I did do is reverse image search on all his pictures and found the real doctor that he stole his pictures from. First, I found a catfish in California, so someone else is using these pictures to catfish people on LinkedIn. And then I actually kept tracking and found the real doctor in Turkey, who is a real doctor, has a big following on Instagram, and he still has his medical practice in Turkey. And he's a real doctor, like, not a fake doctor. He has a totally different name. So I was going to respond and say, the life in the FBI has kept me too busy to get married, and so I don't have any kids and I have never been married. But I do like to investigate criminals on the internet. But I'm just gonna go ahead and report him with my findings, which I haven't done yet, but I need to. I just wanted to share that. I thought it was pretty cool. And when I didn't respond, he kept sending me inboxes, hello, catfish. So ridiculous. So what happens is these types of people will end up, after they get you emotionally engaged, after they find out that you're vulnerable or you're lonely, or, they target people that are divorced or widowed, or, searching for love on the internet or what have you. And then what will happen is they'll make you feel like they're your soulmate, kind of like the narcissist does, and they'll get you sucked in, and to the point where they will start making promises to actually meet you in person. So this guy will probably be like, well, I'm supposed to be opening my medical practice there, but something happened with my son. Something tragic's going to happen to his son, and it's going to pull at whoever he gets on his hook. It's going to pull out their heartstrings, even though he already said his son is here, and then his son is there. they're not going to catch it. They're not going to catch it because they're going to be so excited to be talking to this doctor who's opening his own practice and who's already been through so much tragedy. And anyway, and then he's going to start making excuses for needing them to send him money. And it's going to start off with small amounts because that's how they start testing you first. And then usually they'll start asking money through like iTunes gift cards or just straight up wires or even PayPal. There's so many different ways. Or now we have Cash App. I mean, God only knows. And then you're going to be wondering why you're sending your wire to Ghana or Indonesia and he's supposed to be in New Orleans. Trust me, that's where this is going. I mean, I already know for sure he's catfish. And this is one of many. It's just something that came up. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a little report on this because we're in coronavirus, we're in lockdown, people are on dating sites, and there's predators out there. And being that I like to discuss recovery and, you know, people being victimized or what have you, this is another way people do it. And there's been people that have been defrauded for their entire life savings, their retirement, they've sold their houses, you know, vulnerable women, even men get catfish. There's women on there catfishing and doing romance scams is what we call it, you know, and that's their full-time job. That's their full-time job. So I just wanted to put that out there. Just a little thing to talk about on this fine day. A little interesting thing. And I'll be back with more interesting things. Have a great week. Thanks for listening.